Dan Morris. You're watching Bosun Dan Bushcraft, and today we're going to be cooking wood. Not cooking in the woods, cooking wood. Well, cooking wood in the woods. So yeah, cooking in the woods. But we're cooking wood because today we're going to make some charcoal. Yay, I can hear the excitement in your voices. I can't even hear your voices, I don't know what I'm on about. Today we are going to be making some charcoal, a very useful thing to have in any situation. So many uses, we'll waffle about that a bit later. But the more keen-eyed amongst you may have noticed from this camera angle that I am in fact not in my usual spot in the woods, which is in fact about a mile up that way. And the reason for that, well, there's two reasons really. Firstly is a reason that I'm pretty sure all bushcrafters who do have a regular spot that they visit will identify with, and that is firewood. Starting to run slight on the firewood close to hand at that camp, and I want that camp for camping. So really you'll be seeing me in there again when I'm doing work on that and building it a bit more, but for the moment I'm going to be, when I'm doing other little things like this, like today's video where we're making things or doing stuff like that, we will be out of that usual bit of a base camp because I am just trying to save up the wood there. Although there may be a few more gifts of wood up there at the moment, because after that storm Dara blew through, is it Dara? I don't know, however you pronounce it, but after that blew through, there is quite a few trees down in here. There always is, being the planted woodland that it is here. They're too close together, big winds happen, a lot of them do blow over. So, well, little ones grow up after, so it's not a problem. The second reason I'm not traipsing all the way up there is I seem to have done something to a nerve in my neck. Probably weight training a little too much. I have been increasing the intensity there, but that seems to be showing up all the way down my left arm and my right leg as nervy related things. So my axe work might not be quite as rapid as it usually is. This spot though, we have got some lovely fallen birch. There's a nice dropped pine over there as well that's looking pretty nice and dead. So we can hack those up and get a roll in. So with no more ado, I am going to get a chop in, sort out some firewood, and then we'll get on with the actual making of this charcoal. You can tell I am not quite up to par. The lazy way I'm swinging prayer around. I just can't be bothered. Thing is though, keep your axe nice and sharp like I do this one. You don't need to go mad, just take your time and you'll get through it. So. Still not quite there. I love a fire when it stacks itself for you. Beautiful. Now obviously when you are in the woods and you're not feeling quite up to full stretch, location choice is everything. I mean, it is pretty much anyway, but here is a lovely location because lots of things have been blown down, and I know everybody always says, yeah, but if it's lying down it'll be wet. It's never wet inside though, especially pine. Pine does a real good job of keeping the water out of it, especially when it's still got its bark on. As soon as you get into the middle of it, it's always dry. I mean, the birch that I've just cut behind me, that's been down a very long time. That's not storm damage, that just died and fell over. And that's been there a very long time. I've seen it down before as I've walked through the woods. And even that, for as long as it's sat there, is dry on the inside. Like I say, pine is a great candidate for this. It does keep the water out of itself really well. But most things, once they're above a certain thickness, if you chop through them, they're going to be dry on the inside. Certainly dry enough to burn once you get your fire going. That's not to say, though, that you can make that choice. I'm waffling, I'm not even on camera. That's not to say that you can make that choice with your early light stuff you put on to get your fire going. I'm still not on camera, am I? That stuff really does need to be bone dry. You can see that's how good I'm feeling today. I'm just wandering off screen. I'd do that anyway. See, inside there, ooh, all beautiful. Look at the colour in that. All beautiful, Nice and resiny because it's pine, lovely smooth wood, and as soon as you give it a kiss, yeah, what I'm doing there, I'm not kissing it. I'm feeling the moisture. On a human, your lips are about the most sensitive part of you. I watched something a while ago that said your fingertips and stuff can feel bumps on things down to something like 20 microns, and it was, I don't know why I was watching it, was something like an experiment in Braille or something like that. But your lips can feel things really, really finer down to like 3, 4, 5 microns, I think. Don't quote me on that. But you can really detect cold and moisture there. So anytime, you've probably seen me do this before in other videos, if you just touch your lips on it, you can tell straight away whether it's wet or not, and that is dry. Certainly dry now. There is so much good, dead, dry, free wood just lying around at this spot. Brilliant. Now, of course, it won't be when I'm finished. Although... Okay. Right then, folks, let's get on to making charcoal. So we're going to need a metal tin with a tight fitting lid. Something like a cake tin or an old biscuit tin, or some metal can with a nice snug fitting lid. Can be quite difficult to get hold of these days. You used to be able to just use like Quality Street tins and stuff like that, but they've all gone to plastic. So I was moseying around the town trying to find a metal cake tin. Couldn't find one anywhere I went. So what I actually ended up doing was, oh hello, hiya, how you doing? You alright? It's a tin, there's nothing in it. That's just empty coffee. Bye. Bye, random woodland doggy. So as I was saying, I couldn't find one anywhere, and what I ended up doing was going into my dad's garage and pinching a tin. Men of a certain age are great for collecting things like this and filling them full of Jubilee clips and bolts and nuts and screws, so that's where I got that from. So what I'm going to do is quite simply, I'm quite simply going to cut up this stick so that it fits inside of there. Now I've gone for birch today. I could have gone for pine. There is pine lying around everywhere, but pine will give off a lot of sticky resin. Birch will as well. I'm going to get some birch oil out of it too. We'll see. Measure it up because it needs to fit in and the lid needs to close. So if I can't close my lid, it isn't going to work. Alright, so there we have it. All chopped up and in the tin, quite tightly packed in as well. That'll help to exclude oxygen, because obviously what we're trying to do is bake it, not burn it. So, lid on. Now you need to put a little hole in the top of your cake tin, which I could have done at home, but I kind of forgot to do that, so I'll just give it a good old stabbing. What that little hole is going to do is let the steam out, let the smoke out, let all the water vapour out, because obviously the wood's going to dry before it turns to charcoal. And you keep the hole as small as you can really, because you don't want much oxygen getting back in there, otherwise it will burn. So you should be seeing little jets of smoke come whipping out of there for quite a while. The vapour that comes out might catch fire, in which case put a little rock or something on top of it to stop it from catching fire, because you don't want that flame going inside and setting all your wood on fire. So all I'm going to do with it now is put it on the fire somewhere where there is a calm but constant heat. I don't want it on the very, very hottest parts, because I'm trying, like I say, we're trying to bake it, we're not trying to absolutely incinerate it. So that is quite a good quantity of it, and some of it's some quite thick lumps as well, so I'm expecting that that's probably going to take an hour or two. So I'm going to leave that cooking for the moment. And while that's doing its thing, I'm going to go sort out some sticks and get today's lunch cooking. On today's episode of the Woodland Carnivore, we have chicken and sausage. An odd mix. It's always chicken. And wood oboe. You know it. They don't really stick to the sausages very well, but delicious. So you can see that smoke is starting to rise out of the hole on said cake tin there, which is what we want. Gentle process at the moment, but that's good. It really is no rush to doing this, and the more you rush it, the hotter you get it, the more you're more likely just going to ruin what's inside. You can overdo it and it'll just turn into powdery, useless rubbish. So I'm going to let it sit there and simmer away whilst I cook my dinner, hopefully until the point where smoke stops coming out of that hole, in which case it should be done. But really, if you're using, if you're using a gentle enough heat, it's quite difficult to overcook it. There's my special skill again, smoke in the face. Well, looks like I'm going to be here for a while. I can hear my water boiling. So if I'm going to be here for a while, which I am, because charcoal's not exactly a quick process, but if it is going to be a while, I might as well be. So as I was saying before my battery died, if I'm going to be here for a while, then I might as well be comfortable whilst I'm here. As we know, charcoal is not a particularly fast process. Let's have a look. Oh, that's not bad. Just needs coming forward a little bit, and I can make me brew, and that'll be perfect. Right, quick adjustment. Now the can is still smoking away quite profoundly, so I don't think the can's ready yet. Yeah, the sausages are ready to be turned. Turned but not burned. Give the old chicken a twizzle. The chicken is really not far off. Whoa, let's make a brew. I am getting significantly hungry. Right. Has made all the difference. Ah, a nice sit down with a brew. Oop. Don't you bloody dare. Nice sit down with a brew, with me easy chair, like the luxurious old man of the woods. I need to check that. You're going to disappear on me, you little devil. I can see what you're doing. There, stay. Right, as I was saying, a nice sit down in the woods with me brew. Luxurious. You can even rock a little bit. Comfortable. These easy chairs are brilliant, but they do take a bit of fettling to get them right. So you sit them the first time, and usually what happens is you're like, oh, I need to lift it up a bit. I'm not going to lie, this one could do with going up a little bit, but it's good enough for me. It's a nice sit down. Chicken's done. Can't beat a bit of luxury in the woods. Coffee and chicken. Let's have a look at the old ladders of sausage. They look pretty well done to me. A little too well done on the top two, but with a ladder of sausage, there is always going to be a couple, usually the top two, that get a wee bit overdone. So it's been about 2 hours now. We've still got bags of smoke coming out, so it's not ready yet. I've flipped it over and give the other side a bit of a cooking as well, because obviously trying to keep it at a constant temperature is tricky with an open fire. Flip it back around, keep turning it, making sure we're getting a good even coverage. And I know birch oil's coming out because it's leaking out of the hole in the top of the can. My last two sausages cooking away. Plenty of good smoke, so it is still reacting, it's still carboning, so probably another hour or so yet. It is a bit of a slow process, but being a slow process, it's one of them things that, I mean, I've come out specifically to do it. You guys could do it anytime you're at your spot, you've got a fire going, you can just leave it on there and let it do its thing while you go off and do whatever it is you're doing. So that's how you get around it being a long time process, because there's no real way around that. There's not really any way to speed it up. And you know, you might think bigger fire, more heat. Yeah, if you get it right, that'll work. If you get it wrong, you'll end up with a can of ash, which I haven't opened this yet, so I don't know if I've got a can of ash or if I've got charcoal, but I guess we'll find that out soon enough, won't we? Well, it's getting kind of late now, and although we do still have smoke coming out of it, for the purposes of today's experiment, I imagine we've got enough to actually have some charcoal in there, or at least I hope. So I'm going to take it off the fire now and start cooling it down, just because I'm running out of daylight and I haven't got any lights or anything with me. So if I end up here in the dark, neither you nor I will be able to see anything. So what I'm going to do, I need it to be cold, or at least a lot cooler than it is, before I can open that. So I'm going to bury it in some nice wet forest floor. That'll do two things for me. It'll help to cool the can down quicker, but it will also further exclude any oxygen from getting in there for the moment, because at the temperature that well, presumably, hopefully, charcoal is going to be inside there, if I open that can now and let oxygen in, it's just going to spontaneously combust and start burning. And although the ultimate fate of this charcoal is most likely going to be burning, I want it to burn when I want it to burn, not just spontaneously set fire to itself. So whilst I've got just a sort of a smoking hump on the floor, I'm going to let that cool off, enjoy the fire a bit longer while that cools down so I can open it, and then I'll come back to you when I'm opening it up, because at the moment it is just a smoky pile of dirt. Now, as I said, really I should have let it keep going until it completely stopped smoking. That's when I would have known that I would have had the best. Sorry about that, the camera said it had got low battery and switched off, even though it was like over 50%. Very strange. What was I waffling at? Ah yes, I was saying, letting it get to a lot less smoke, or no smoke at all, I would get better quality charcoal. But as I've said, I'm running out of light. Really, to make it quicker, what you want is thinner sticks. Less amount of thinner sticks, obviously is easier. I kind of went for the big boy load here, but oh well, we'll see what we get when I pop the lid off of that tin. Right then, so my lump of dirt has stopped smoking. That means it must be quite cool in there. Hopefully cool enough. Oh no, still a bit of steam. Let's have a look. Still very hot. Oh well, I want to know. And if it... So it's time to find out if we've got charcoal or just a big burnt pile of ash. Something's lumpy in there. Lid's stuck down because all the tar. It's making some crunchy noises, but that's because I'm letting air in there. It might start burning on its own. If it does, I'll have to put the lid back on quick. Let's have a look. Ha ha! We have charcoal. Almost perfect charcoal, actually. None of it's burning. What I'm going to do though is, just while I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to put that lid back on anyway, just to exclude any oxygen, just in case I don't want it to spontaneously combust, which, like I say, it can do. Wood, any wood, when it gets 300 degrees Celsius, whew, let's get out of this smoke. I said let's get out of this smoke. As soon as I moved, the smoke moved. Now this is pure charcoal. And even though I could have waited a bit longer, it's perfect, pure, crunchy, wholesome charcoal. And it smells absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I bet that'll cook real nice. This, I think it might actually be spontaneously combusting in my hand. It's getting hotter and it's starting to smoke a bit, so I think this, because I've exposed it to oxygen before it had cooled, might catch fire. Wood, all wood pretty much gasificates and will spontaneously combust when it gets to around 300 Celsius. That's why, no matter how keen you are to see inside your can, you need to keep your can shut until it's cooled down, because if it is hot in there, if it is around 300 in there, it will start burning on its own. This is lovely and warm, and it's clicking and crunching, and I am pretty sure that it is in fact going to spontaneously start burning. So I'm just going to pop that out the way for a minute, because we're looking at these two. Stick it on a leaf for the moment, see what it does. Anyway, so this stuff, charcoal, why do we need it? Obviously, burning and cooking, it's an incredibly clean thing to burn when you're cooking, depending on what you're cooking, what you want it for. It's excellent for metal working, when you need to get something really stupidly hot to do metal work with. But you've probably seen out there lots of different types of water filters people make, and a lot of the #1 thing that they make them from is carbon, activated carbon, basically charcoal. Where'd you get that from? You can get it from your fire pit. There's always going to be a bit of charcoal in there. It's not always going to be the purest, the cleanest. This stuff that we've just made, it's nice and pure, nice and clean. This would be excellent for making water filters. It's also great for drawing, if you want to leave symbols on trees or something like that, or I don't know, if you look at it survival wise, there's lots of reasons why you might want to make markings and stuff. Fire is another one. This stuff will light from a ferro rod. If you catch sparks on it with a ferro rod, it will start glowing red. Put 2 or 3 lumps together, keep blowing, eventually you'll get flames. We should be able to light it pretty easily with a lighter or any other medium as well. Yeah, instantly starts glowing red. And there we have pure burning working charcoal. if I put 2 lumps together and keep blowing, generally it takes 3 lumps to do it, but it will turn into a fire. See that? We're getting flame. Yeah. So you can see how with just a couple of lumps, you'd easily get fire. And that is all there is to it with making the charcoal. Now, there is a more bushcraft way where you bury your wood that you want to turn to charcoal, and then you bury it with this forest's not really that good because it's leaf litter and pine needles and stuff, and it just dries and burns through. But if you do have a fire pit that you use constantly and you've got a really solid ash bed, you can bury wood under that ash bed and then make a fire on top of it, and it will do the same thing. Not quite as efficiently as the can. You will lose some will catch fire, but you will get a good quantity of nice clean charcoal by doing it the burying method. We'll do that on another video actually, because it is a bit more bushcraft. The chances of you finding a complete cake tin out in the woods is pretty slim, but you get the idea. That is doing what charcoal does best. It is just staying as an ember, and it is just burning. And because it's actually done really nice, this birch, it's opened up, it's got lots of little fissures and cracks all the way down it to let air in. So this stuff, more than quite a lot of different types of charcoal, this would easily take a spark off a ferro rod or something like that. Very nice, but it's gonna have to go because it's burning my fingers. Now, that piece that I put on the floor, it's cooled down significantly now. It didn't spontaneously combust, so if this out in the oxygen didn't, none of it in the tin will have done. That will be completely clear. Let's just go, should we just go have a look in that tin, see how much we've got. So here is said tin. And you can see, now it is clicking and crunching and making noises because it's cooling. I don't think it's going to catch fire. I think it's cooled beyond that point by now. But you can see, get the bark off. The charcoal bark is alright, it's not really that useful. But there's no weight in that now, it is just the skeletal remains. It is so light that I could crush it. I don't want to crush it because I kind of have plans for these. And especially in those sizes, they are perfectly natural briquettes. And even though it was still smoking a bit and I could have gone a bit longer, that has actually done a really nice job of it, to the point where it's just breaking up into little lumps all on its own. So that is some pretty perfect charcoal, really. I can't complain about that. And we did it before it went dark. The can will live again and we'll get another burn out of that. But for me today in the woods, guys, covered in charcoal, for me today, that is all I have to say to you. That is this video done. So as always, folks, get out there, get bushcrafting, get making charcoal, have fun, be safe, and I will catch you all on the next one.